Welcome to On the Couch with
Shuntai Johnell.
and I'm Johnell Allen Bay. So we have another great show. The title of the show got me, Signs of a
Toxic relationship. And there's a lot of toxic relationships out there.
Yes.
And I'm
Yes.
telling you.
And today we have with us Michelle Dosberg.
Hi.
How you doing?
Hi, I'm great. I'm great. How are you guys?
We're
Welcome,
great.
welcome,
Awesome.
welcome.
Awesome. Thank you.
We're great because you're talking about toxic relationships.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. So tell us about Michelle.
Okay. Well, my name is Michelle Dusbert, and I'm from New York. I'm from the Bronx.
Okay.
But I live in Atlanta. I've been in Atlanta for over 30 years, so I've seen the city grow.
Okay.
And I am the founder and CEO of a nonprofit called Real Chicks Rock. And it's all about the empowerment of women. And we do it through so many different vehicles and platforms. We do it through our community service, mentoring and programming, public speaking. And we also have a talk show and a podcast where we talk about issues that impact us as women. So we use that platform to just kind of establish tools and empower the women. It's all about the women today.
Right, because we're awesome.
Yes, we're awesome. We're fabulous.
You awesome, you fabulous, we love you, can't live without you. Can we be inclusive?
Yes.
That's all.
Well, we wouldn't be here without you.
Yeah, yes, yes.
Okay, then, I
True,
feel a little
true.
better. Throw me a little bone.
So why did you develop Real Chicks Rock?
Yeah, it was something that I felt I was very passionate about, being a divorced woman and having a young child at the time.
Okay.
I needed to reset and re-engage and re-image my life. And oftentimes when you're in relationships and they don't quite work out, you don't know where or how to reinvent yourself, where to start, where to pick up the pieces. How do you get back to you and become a better you? Because relationships are not always about
Is that
failure.
because you don't go in to fail, right?
Yeah, I don't go in
Right.
fail.
So when you're in a relationship, you're going into it thinking this is a long haul.
Exactly.
So if it don't work, you're like, dang.
Yeah. What do I do
What
now?
did I do?
Yeah.
You know? I felt that way a lot of times. I'm sorry, it's to the women.
No.
So, it is inclusive though,
Yeah.
because men and women are both engaging
Exactly.
in toxic relationships.
Right.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
you can learn from this,
Mm-hmm.
as well as our men in the audience. You
Definitely.
can learn from this,
Yes,
right?
yes.
May I add, we have more men than we do women in our audience. Thank you, men.
Well, he has backup. So explain to us and our audience what is considered toxic when it comes to
Right.
relationships.
Toxic relationships, there's so many different forms and it sneaks in on you, but it's really like a negative kind of spirit, like insecurity, doubt. There's manipulation and control that happens in a toxic relationship. So again, it comes to you in different ways and different platforms. It kind of disguises itself, but you have to be solid in who you are to really be able to understand that those things are not compatible with who you are.
So how do you build someone up to be secure with self before they deal with it? Because that's important.
Yeah.
And I know that people that you come in contact, they don't already have that. So how do you do that?
First thing is you have to identify what makes you happy. Who are you, right? Oftentimes we look for happiness in another person.
Okay.
And that is usually not a good thing to do. That's really an opening to a toxic relationship
Oh.
because your happiness is always dependent upon other people. That's not always a good thing to do. So you need to do the work with yourself. So the
Okay.
first thing is understanding what works for you. Who are you? What works for you? What do you like? What do you dislike? And being honest about that. Oftentimes, when we meet someone, we may dummy down or put things away in the closet to fit in a person's life.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't do that.
I always share that you should never just meet the representative. If you're meeting the representative, at some point you're gonna be crazy.
There,
Something's gonna happen.
yeah,
Because the person they'll show their real colors
right,
at some point.
right, right.
And what do those real colors look like? It could be, when we talk about toxic,
Yeah,
it could be jealousy.
jealousy,
What else?
envy,
Envy.
control, manipulation, like itself, low self-esteem, doubt. It's just a lot of different things that come into that toxic relationship. Oftentimes it's things that we've had in the past that we've not dealt with yet.
Okay.
And sometimes
Unresolved.
unresolved issues, whether it be mother and father relationships, those dynamics, early breakups, early marriages, failures. It could be in our personal career as well as our professional career that we're dealing with. And we bring this into the relationship.
Yeah. In no relationship, I mean, you can't minimize relationships. You know, I was 12 years old and she broke up with me, and that was impactful at 12.
Right.
You know, and it affected you throughout life because you're looking for certain things, right? So don't minimize relationships.
Right.
You know, sometimes you're like, well, you're just going through a little crush. Well, that crush can turn into something.
Can turn
major,
into something.
Right?
Habits and things that you're looking for consistently, whether it be abandonment, loneliness, or just being accepted. Oftentimes we're doing things to be accepted, and that's not always a good thing to do.
That was just from a male perspective. You see, we go through some stuff too.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So that childhood breakup at 12 it set the stage for the rest of your life, right? No, were you talking about you, right?
I resolved that issue. I resolved that issue. I'm sorry.
So the work that you do, what kind of programming do you do with Real Chicks Rock?
Real Chicks Rock, well, we have workshops. We talk about various different things. And so the workshops we cover from real estate to entrepreneurialism to relationships and even time management. We want people to get back to who they are and understand what that is. Oftentimes we don't want to do the work. The problem sometimes lies with us, right? Oftentimes when you're dealing with different people and you have different relationships and breakups, you can't blame everyone else. Sometimes you got to look in the mirror and say, why is this happening? Where is this stemming from? And oftentimes we want to get people back to the root and just doing the foundational work and understanding who you are and being okay with that.
Ms. Birt, I feel good that you were inclusive when you said people and that, not just women. So I like that. But I can't help to think that in these seminars that you have, are there any men there?
There are men there.
Praise God. That's important. And I'm going to tell you why it's important. It's important because of the fact that you can create an environment that we don't need men.
Right.
And if you create that environment and empower women and tell them we don't need men, we're going to have a society of women not needing men.
No.
And guess what? Men need women. We never say, "Oh, we don't want to deal with women no more."
Yeah.
I've never been to a boys' club where that was the topic of a discussion. We're through what we need. We can be independent. No, we need inclusiveness.
Yeah.
We need the relationship. We need something that's healthy. So I love dealing with that toxic issue.
Yeah. Real men love real chicks.
I love
Yeah, all right.
I like
All right. All right.
You may call me. I'll get involved in that. Yeah. So when we get back, we're going to talk more about
Real Chicks Rock
and the bringing us together. I like that concept. Okay.
On the Couch with Shuntai and Johnell focuses on educational, humorous, and insightful topics based on extraordinary lives of real people. Each episode provides real talk from real people.
What makes you want to change? There's three things that, make people change: frustration, inspiration, or desperation. Which one you want to choose?
Because anger, let's not acknowledge that anger is also a survival.
Okay.
It's part of survival. Right. It is a natural emotion that comes with survival. And so you're going to have anger, you're going to have sadness, you're going to deal with grief. And so our job is not to erase those emotions, but to get what you need out of those emotions to move forward, get the tools that you need from that so it can be constructive.
Hey, you know what? This is the way you live life to the fullest.
Okay.
This is the way relationships are the best. This is the way God wants it for
But
you.
there's a cleansing. There's an educational process when you talk about some of the things that you experience, because oftentimes you're not the only one that's gone through it. And that's where the embarrassment comes in, when we think we're the only one that's been treated this way, or how could he have done this to me? Other people have gone through similar things.
I was incarcerated for 29 years. I've been home now for 28 months and 8 days. I'm excited. What time is it?
Wow, I don't know.
And 4 hours. So I'm excited to be here.
So Johnell, why don't you start with telling us about your story and your journey? How did you, tell us a little bit about your backstory.
Join Shuntai Hill, a certified counselor, and Johnell Allen Bay, a life coach and relationship expert, weekly for On the Couch with Shuntai and Johnell.
And welcome back. We're interviewing today Michelle Dawes Birt. And we're talking about Real Chicks Rock.
Right.
And why is empowering women so important to you?
It is very important. Oftentimes, we find ourselves in relationships that didn't work. We blame ourselves, we don't do the work. It's just trying to understand and repivot and reset ourselves to do better.
Okay.
We're in a place now that people are wanting to do the work, men and women. And women are starting to discover what it is that makes their heart beat. Why are they here? Why are they existing? What's important? We're juggling so many different things, our careers, we're
Right.
moms, we're wives, we have businesses, and we're trying to balance that all.
Yeah.
And oftentimes, especially black women, we put ourselves in the back burner. We serve and give everyone else, and then we're last. And so Real Chicks Rock is all about, you know what, you can balance this whole thing out. You don't have to be last. You are important. You need to be counted.
But I've heard that those who are last will be first.
That is true.
And so we talk about the empowerment. I never knew women weren't empowered because I know what a woman is, right? I've never seen a woman not empowered. Now, she may be dysfunctional in understanding her power. I think that's what has to be dealt with. But there's no such thing as a woman not being empowered. I mean, even when we examined it from the beginning, right? There was a woman named Eve that had major influence over the man. She wasn't empowered. Oh, yes, she was empowered. So I just think about when we talk about that, we have to deal with the dysfunction because we're empowered. Our women are empowered, and especially when you talk about our woman, the sister.
Right.
And
then
so
this
I
is
see her differently.
This is
No,
where
this is
I
from
beg
my
to
perspective.
differ from Johnell on, is because it doesn't have to be a dysfunction for you not to recognize you have power.
Right.
So most of the time, programs like yours, Real Chick Rock, is about helping women understand that they do have power, what that power looks like within them, because maybe they never had the platform to show it.
That's correct. That's correct. So it's not always a dysfunction.
Okay,
It could
so-
be a behavior.
Exactly.
And behavior is not dysfunction.
No.
No.
Okay. I learned something. Not afraid to say I learned something.
So tell us about your personal story.
Yeah.
You know, oftentimes, you know, you date, you're in relationships, and you're just looking for love. You don't know what that really means and what that looks like.
Okay.
I've been in some relationships that weren't very good. They weren't good for me in the sense that they left me broken. They left me trying to figure out, who am I? Why is this happening to me? How could they do this to me? You know, it was a lot of blame shifting,
Okay.
not owning what was happening. And it goes back to just understanding what makes you happy
Okay.
and not looking to others to fill that void. I think that oftentimes we do that. If I find that guy, he will complete me. Or if I find that woman, she completes me. You should be complete on your own before you even come to the table of dating or being looking for a committed relationship. You got to know who you are. You have to know who you are first. That's very important. No one has that power or possession to help you fill in those voids. You need to know how to do that for yourself. And so Real Chicks Rock is all about trying to help women find those tools and those resources to put in those pieces that might be missing in their life so that they're whole in every aspect of their life.
I like that. But my ear's trained to hear certain things. So when you talk about completion, and I think that it's healthy for two people to be complete, but I think that you're not all the way complete until you're able to have that cohesiveness. I think the cohesiveness makes us complete.
Right.
I mean, I'm very secure in myself, but I know that I need that helpmate, or she needs that helpmate in order to make us stronger. I believe two is better than one. And so when I hear people saying that I don't need anybody to make me complete, I'm kind of like reserved there because of what I just told you. And when I say that to you, what do you say, Ms. Birt?
Cohesiveness is important, but it shouldn't be a dependency, right?
A dependency.
So everybody wants to have certain things in their life. So let's use this for an example. If I never get married again, am I not still a woman? Am I not still whole? Sometimes we look for things to make us complete. We feel like if I had that child or if I get married, that's the last thing that I need to complete me. That's a desire and that's fine.
Okay.
But it shouldn't be a dependency, because if it doesn't happen, then are you still not whole? Are you still not your full person because you don't have these other elements in your life? So we have to take away these things as crutches or handicaps. If they happen, it's wonderful. And how are we prepared for that in our life?
I like that, but we live in a society that teaches from some type of a Christian perspective. And that means that we believe that if a person isn't saved and leave this earth, that they're not complete. And so that's a way of life. It's a certain environment that we live in this society. And so to eradicate that, how do you put that in order? How do we figure that out? If one way I'm thinking, and it's from a divine purpose and thinking, and then I deal with something that's not divine, and I separate it and try to make, well, yeah, I'll be complete without that. Could I say, well, I'll be all right if I die and never been saved? That would be blasphemy to the world. So, I want us to be able to really, figure the thing out the right way and be able to term it where people feel good about who they are as individuals from a spiritual perspective all the way into having the human experience.
So you have something key there, and it's about being the best version of yourself that you can possibly be.
Absolutely.
And then you can bring that to the table if you're seeking a partner, or if you never have that partner, at least you know that you're the best version of yourself and that you've done everything that you can to empower yourself, to enhance yourself.
That is
and
beautiful.
anything extra is a bonus.
I like that.
Right?
That's why I'm her co-host. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so when we come back, we want to elaborate more about your experience, okay? Yeah.
Sounds good.
On the Couch with Shuntai and Johnell focuses on educational, humorous, and insightful topics based on extraordinary lives of real people. Each episode provides real talk from real people.
What makes you want to change? There's three things that, make people change: frustration, inspiration, or desperation. Which one you want to choose?
Because anger, let's not acknowledge that anger is also a survival.
Okay.
It's part of survival. It is a natural emotion that comes with survival. And so you're going to have anger, you're going to have sadness, you're going to deal with grief. And so our job is not to erase those emotions, but to get what you need out of those emotions to move forward, get the tools that you need from that so it can be constructive.
Hey, you know what? This is the way you live life to the fullest.
Okay.
This is the way relationships are the best. It's the way God wants it for
But
you.
there's a cleansing, there's an educational process when you talk about some of the things that you experience, because oftentimes you're not the only one that's gone through it. And that's where the embarrassment comes in, when we think we're the only one that's been treated this way, or how could he have done this to me? Other people have gone through similar things.
I was incarcerated for 29 years. I've been home now for 28 months and 8 days. I'm excited. What time is it?
Wow, I don't know.
And 4 hours. So I'm excited to be here.
So Johnell, why don't you start with telling us about your story and your journey? How did you, tell us a little bit about your backstory.
Join Shuntai Hill, a certified counselor, and Johnell Allen Bay, a life coach and relationship expert, weekly for On the Couch with Shuntai and Johnell.
So we back with Miss Birt, and she's going to share her story with us.
Yeah.
So tell us how we talked about toxic relationships, okay? So how were you able to overcome the toxic relationships that you experienced in your life?
Man, they weren't easy. It wasn't easy because, again, you feel rejection. You feel you're not worthy. There's a lot of different things that go on in your mind and your soul and your spirit. And it was just a difficult thing for me to kind of climb my way out of. Oftentimes they say, show me your friends and I'll tell you who you are. So I made sure that my circle of friends, my village, were people that can put positive reinforcement into me, to lead me into different areas and perspectives, to talk about it. Oftentimes we don't talk about it because we feel we're embarrassed. We feel that we've already lost already, so why should we drum up what's already happened in the past? But there's a cleansing, there's an educational process when you talk about some of the things that you experience, because oftentimes you're not the only one that's gone through it. And that's where the embarrassment comes in, when we think we're the only one that's been treated this way, or how could he have done this to me? other people have gone through similar things. So I think when you talk about it to people that care about you, it kind of helps release the seal on some opportunities or things that you can do differently for yourself. It's not always about the other person. Again, it's always doing the work for yourself first and loving yourself more.
Right.
So, Michelle, when you deal with a new relationship, do you bring this up? Is this a conversation that you lead with, that I've been in a situation and I overcome this here and this is where I'm at now? Is that how you lead off?
No. I think when it's genuine and organic, it comes out.
Okay.
It comes out naturally.
Okay.
Because I think when you're dealing with people on the same level, they want to talk about these things too. They want to understand where you're coming from, because these are the things I've been through.
Okay.
Right? So it's not to be worn as a badge of honor, but I think you definitely need to put it on the table during the right time in the relationship, in the conversation, to just let the person know where you're at and where you're trying to go.
Okay, so it's about the way you communicate.
Yeah, exactly. And the timing of that is important as well. You don't do that on the very first date, but if the atmosphere invites that, then perhaps.
So
I know I said that, but as men, we wish that you would, because the fact that it allows us to make a decision. And that decision could be productive, or it could be, hey, you know what? Let's just be friends. I'm a great support. Call me.
I don't think anyone wants to put all the cards out on the table on first date.
Yeah.
I do.
Well, when you do that, do you get a second date?
Sometimes it may not be effective.
Right.
But when we talk about toxic relationship, there's a filtering in and a filtering out
Right.
process, because you get to purity once you filter. So were there some people that you had to filter out of your life and disconnect?
Yeah. There's a few of those people that you just.
Why you look over here?
Yeah. Well, just I was just feeling. I was including the men when I did that. Yeah, but in order to move forward, sometimes you just have to sever ties.
Right.
It didn't really add value to your life. You've learned some lessons, but if keeping that person in your life is going to create some triggers, then maybe it's not a good thing to continue to move on with them. So sometimes you have to cut some people go. If you should see them in the street, you have a conversation, hey, how's it going? But to kind of keep some doors open, no, some doors need to be closed.
So what if it's a family member?
Well, I believe even a family member should have an expiration date if they're not going in the same direction that you go. I go back to the scriptures. They asked Jesus one time about his mother being there, and he made a comment, listen, if she ain't going the right way, who are you talking about? So it's about where you're going. If you head in this direction and everybody going left, well, you got to make a decision and say, you know what, I got to cut these people off. I don't care who it is. If they're not going in that direction, that's not healthy.
Yeah.
And so-
We're like rocket ships. Like, we're always trying to improve and get to a higher height and a higher altitude.
Definitely.
And as a rocket goes up, there's parts of it that comes off, because as it moves to another dimension, everybody can't go with you.
That's right.
So you just be yourself and do your natural work and your course, and everything that's supposed to be with you will be aligned with you, and those that are not will just fall off.
Well, that's from the mouth of Real Chicks Rock. We appreciate that. The impact that you've shown, and you've been through something. You got a story.
Yeah, thank you.
And our show is based on ordinary people living extraordinary lives.
Extraordinary, yes.
And you're definitely living extraordinary lives.
Thank
And
you.
the work that you're doing is
Definitely.
extraordinary.
Thank
It
you.
is.
Thank you.
So how can our audience members contact you? Do you have a website?
Yes, I do. RealChicksRock.com. And I'm on all the social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, and on Facebook.
We'll have to check out more Real Chicks Rock.
Yeah, thank you.
I like you. I do. I like what you got going.
Thank you.
And I like the point where there's an educational moment where you now accept that you need to be inclusive. What's the new organization we're going to start called?
Real men love real chicks.
Y'all heard it. This is what we do. This is what we do. You come here, and guess what? We'll make the agenda fit. So, thank you again.
Thank you so
I
much for having me.
appreciate you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for
Thank
joining
you.
us.
Thank you.
And thank you for tuning in to
On the Couch with
Shuntai Hill.
and Johnell Allen Bay.
Until next time, peace out.